Welcome to Philly Coco Presents Side Project Spotlight, episode 94. This is developers' journey into making cool stuff. I'm Kotaro.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are Philly Coco, a Philadelphia-based Coco Heads community focused on Apple development that primarily, but not exclusively, means iOS, Mac, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS development. Philly Coco's true desire is to take you higher on your own developer journey. Woo! All right. Yes. Perfect. Back. We're back.
That's good. We're back. Although, if you hear a little bit of background noise, apologize. I couldn't turn off my air conditioner. This is like still above 90 outside, and my room is like in the 80s with air conditioners running all day long.
It's like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's awful. My last electric bill was. It hurt. It was. I had to move things around in my budget to cover it. I was like, I had been estimating high, but I did not hit anywhere near what it was. Oh my god, I hate heat waves. But
oh my goodness,
so
it's brutal out there in the Northeast. It is.
It's only for today. It's going to be tomorrow, right? It gets cooler. Well, as we're recording this, so when I get up for the morning to run tomorrow morning, it should hopefully be cooler.
Yes, running.
Yeah,
it was not cool this morning.
No, I did it yesterday outside, and it was very painful, and I was already sore.
You ran outside yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
In that scorching heat?
In the morning, at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was already like, I don't know, 80 something and super humid. It was. I more ran and walked 60% of it or something. You know, I was just like.
I was about to say, it's like I walked and it was, to my,
it was awful.
To my bus stop, and it was brutal. So yeah, no,
yeah. So
that's not what we want.
So it's like super hot outside, but it's also super hot on Kotaro's phone.
Yes.
It's called a segue.
So I, the foolish person that I am, saw... so as of this recording, we are at the public beta at this moment. The public betas for all iOS, macOS, TV, etc., is out. And so, and I think that's... I don't know if that is a little... that was a little after Beta 4 came out, so I don't know if there's any crossover from that standpoint or if it's technically the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't check the numbers.
Regardless, I was like, okay, this is a safe bet. Go for it. So what did I do?
It's still a beta. It's still a beta, though.
I didn't even back up my hard drive. Okay,
Whoa.
That's how stupid I am. Okay, I said, you know what? YOLO.
YOLO.
And
I want some liquid glass.
I proceeded to liquid glassify not only my my iPhone, which actually does have an iCloud backup, so that's fun. And
I don't even know if you can restore it though.
I
don't know. The rules of upgrades and downgrades are weird. But you rolled the dice. You installed the beta.
I assume I would just basically have to factory reset my phone and then update it that way. But
that would
digress. Now, the phone does lose more battery. It's charged a little faster than it did before. Like before, it was absurd in terms of how long this phone would last. So that wasn't a big deal because I have an iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Wow.
So
my battery's long in the tooth. Mine's like 14 Pro Max. So I'm not.
Don't install it. Yeah, don't install this if you're struggling with your battery. Stay far away. Because it not only gets a little tiny bit warm, but it's also...
If it's getting warm, that means it's doing something. What is it doing? It's just churning
through
me
that
beta
liquid
logs.
Goodness, okay? It's
the GPU. I don't know.
It's making all those sweet liquid effects.
I know.
Yes, all the sweet liquid effects, indeed. And I will say, I know there's this massive discord about liquid glass, but I personally like it. I think it has...
It's growing on me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it has these little surprise and delight moments where you're just like, oh, that's pretty cool. You can kind of tell, on paper, or I'm sorry, when you're looking at it on screenshots, it doesn't look that great, or it has moments where you're like, oh, this is an accessibility thing, etc., etc. I get it, but I kind of like how it just it does grow on you over time, or at least
they've been tweaking it, and it's looking better than it did in Beta 1.
Now, the Mac, on the other hand...
Wait.
The Mac, I feel, is actually... I think there's a little... I don't necessarily agree with all the the issues with, people having issues with the Mac. I actually kind of like some of the changes they made with the menus and the Finder.
Is it like the return of Aqua? Is it lickable again?
It is lickable, yes. Well, not as lickable as the iPhone. I won't dispute the fact that there is some moments where like you're like, oh, this was definitely more like iOS focused, but like the Spotlight thing is fantastic.
Which Spotlight thing are you talking about?
So when you open up Spotlight, you command space or whatever, and you now it has those sections that like squeezes in so that you can like just do a search on your for your apps, your folders, your shortcut actions, and or your clipboard, and you can like command into any of them.
Wow.
And then go into that.
This is the Sherlocking of
yes. This is the Sherlocking
menu bar, whatever they call them.
Either Raycast or Alfred. I think both of those
probably
products still exist.
Yeah, they exist. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is. I wouldn't say it necessarily Sherlocks them, but in a sense, like both of those are already so far ahead. This is kind of like it takes a half-measured step to get closer to them.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Also, interestingly enough, if you do like, let's say you do pick apps, or you start to like, you can actually start to assign keys to your shortcuts when you're in Spotlight, so then you can just tap that key in Spotlight and then go straight to the app.
That's cool.
One thing is a little weird I just discovered today is that, which might be a beta thing, I'm not entirely sure, but I noticed like my laptop was getting hot, so I was like, let me cool it down, let me just shut it down and then open up a little bit later. So I open it up and I knew it was shut down. It automatically starts to boot up. Like, even though it was shut down, it knew it enough. And I don't know if this is a bug or if this is a quote-unquote feature of this new beta, but I've never, ever had it so that when I lifted the lid, it automatically starts to boot up.
Like it was, it's totally off?
Yeah, it's totally off. And then
I thought that was a feature for
I thought that was
new MacBooks.
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to do that, but I'm not sure what scenarios. I know that if I plugged into USB power, that will seem to start it up too.
Okay, yeah. That took me by surprise. So maybe that's just because I don't shut down my laptop that often.
You're not supposed to shut it down.
I know.
Apparently.
Apparently. So yeah, that's been a journey. Having said all that, I also tested Apple Intelligence on the Xcode, and it is interesting to say the least.
Why don't you show us?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen with my fellow colleagues that everyone else won't be able to see, but that's
we like to tease the audience here on the pod.
Yes, and what's hilarious is like I have no idea. I'm also on the beta, so I'm like completely clueless of whether this will work or not. So so I'm in Xcode now. Normally, there's a button here now for like your like your normal project.
Yeah,
on the left side.
Everything's all rounded. It's weird.
Yes, it's rounded and it's layered. So you notice like instead of like where before they were on the same level. Now it's like a little bit thicker. The sidebar doesn't shrink at all because of the segment control is like locking it to a certain width, which is not great. But let me just
can you hide it entirely at least?
Yes, you can. You can.
I'm not sure if I like this design language, honestly.
That's fair. Like I honestly think like
on the by the look of it, it looks like you should be able to just grab it and put it anywhere, like a Photoshop thing.
It's not that. It's not that advanced. There's probably still a lot of Objective-C in there.
Yes. So if
probably a lot of C and like assembly and stuff in Photoshop. So that's not an excuse.
Yeah,
whatever.
So I was just doing a test for liquid glass.
Yeah, it doesn't look like this when you run Xcode 26 on Sequoia, whatever the production one is. Yeah, I've been using the beta Xcode, and it pretty much looks like the old Xcode.
Yeah, so this is actually this is the huge departure, right? So now you got this intelligence setup thing where you go
it's a big
in there,
sparkly button that everybody uses.
The star. And
whose idea was that?
I don't know who did it first, but
that's a good question, right? Because
like residuals. The
star is not an Apple thing. I think they tried one way, and then they were like, "All right, fine, everybody's using the star." So you can turn it on, but it only has ChatGPT support for now.
Well,
technically speaking, if you have Yes. If you have, it's giving me warnings. If you have like a ChatGPT account, you can sign in and get use the Pro version.
Probably need to, isn't the limit pretty?
And then if you want, you can add either a remote model, which I assume is for Claude and all the other third-party ones, or a locally hosted one, which I'm not sure how that would work, but it is interesting at the very least that there's that option. I haven't tried adding another one, an alternative one just yet.
What if you can use MLX models?
You have this glowing message with ChatGPT. So if I say something like, what's the difference between, let's say, private and file private? All right, let's see what the response is.
It's all the way
in the broader context, it will give you, whatever your typical response, an example of like of a reason why you would use a private of var or fire. Strut or a file private one. Although this does not seem to do a very good job of explaining. Yeah, there's private. Oh, file private. Yeah. But you can also add files. So if I added content of, so I've been testing like Liquid Glass in my content view in a test project. So now it will like if I add it as like they have it as an attachment icon, you can add that to that and any other content from the project. You have to be specific about which file that you want to work in, and it only seems to work like a few at a time. I don't know if I don't need to upload. I don't know if I'm gonna. Let's see. Let me add both projects. And let me see if. Oh, it seems to be like one project at a time, one file at a time. It looks like, which not great. But if you're working in like short bursts or like in short context, then it's fine. So like here, for example, you can ask it like, So I have like a list view with like liquid glass buttons, which actually is kind of interesting. Like you do that, you get that glass effect if you add to your button a button style of dot glass, but you can also change it to glass prominent, which and there's some other that will turn that to blue or whatever color you give it. I think you have to like assign a tint to that now. So let's say red. Let's see if that works. Close enough. But yeah, you kind of see how this works. So I've been testing it in this space so I can kind of get a better sense of how to apply it back to our little side project in a little like isolated spot. But you can also do stuff like ask it to like, I don't know, Steve, give me some kind of thing you want me to change on this view. Add a tab bar.
Yes, tab bars are great.
Add a tab bar to this view.
Yes.
With three tab bar items. Which technically you would probably have to like separate this out into 3 different views, right? But what it try to do is actually do the changes for you. And again, these are...
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Seems to have done the job. It did it so fast. I'm like a little scared. It is kind of funny that they put the search bar at the top. I'm not sure how that works out. Anyway, change, and then it just makes that change for you. Not the best. It did exactly what I asked it to do, which is basically create a tab bar with 3 tab bar items. So, yeah, useful. Any thoughts?
It's cool.
Or suggestions? I'm not sure I can hear you anymore. Let me stop sharing.
Well, that's not good.
All right, I am having trouble hearing you guys.
Well, we can hear you.
Technical difficulties.
Who can hear whom right now?
I am now having trouble hearing you guys.
Can Aaron hear me?
Yeah.
Should I?
I can hear Aaron. I can hear Kotaro.
Slack me or something.
Fun times on live recording.
Hear you. I cannot hear you guys.
Oh no.
Give me 1 second.
ChatGPT broke.
There we go. I'm back. I hear you.
So
I hear you.
You did something.
Sorry.
We were trying to record this without the need to edit it.
Sorry. Just timestamp it.
Just leave all that in.
Timestamp it as the 50.
I was trying to say earlier that like adding the files in there is like what I do with Aider. That's how Aider works. But what's nice about this is it's updating things, and then it's updating directly in the preview in the Swift UI preview. So like that's a really nice. Now what I do is I have Aider in a terminal on my laptop screen, and my ancient 27-inch Thunderbolt display that's failing slowly in front of me, and that's where I'm doing Xcode. And then it doesn't work as smoothly as that because it has to. It's updating the files from underneath, but it does work. I mean, like Xcode is pretty good at reading the files when they get changed. But I don't know if the previews. I don't know. I guess that'll work. I haven't really tried it much with the previews lately. I've been running it on a simulator, but I liked how smooth that integration was. I like that. Yeah. That was cool.
That was almost.
It was like a really, 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 really old version of Cursor.
Yeah.
I'm curious to try it with a local model.
Yeah. I would recommend you explore that as an option.
Okay. Well, how much RAM?
I don't know if my ancient M1.
It's like a RAM thing too. Is a big deal about it. So remember we did that test Philly Coca months ago, and I did run some local stuff and Zoom call at the same time on 32 gigs.
Yeah, I only have
memory
16.
on M1. Yeah, 16. You're probably there's not a lot of models that can run 16, but 32 you could barely get some of them to run locally really slowly.
So I'm currently running 16. Now, granted, that's using the ChatGPT's online thing, so I'm cheating there. But it would be interesting to test on, maybe in an optimized model just to start small.
Yeah.
What format were you running the models in, or what? Were you using Olama?
I've used Olama and I used LM Studio, but I think Olama was when I was.
Did you try any with MLX? That's like Apple's. Optimized.
No, I don't think I did at the time. I haven't tried that lately, so I should try that. Is it MLX? That's the?
Yeah, that's like Apple's own platform for running stuff on their devices.
I've not, but it looks like he just takes a port number, so. Xcode, it has to be that's why I remind you, I think that's how Olama works, where he just like attaches it to a port.
Oh, interesting.
You just have to have something running it.
Right.
And then we'll see if that works. I would love to see if it works with Xcode, because, well, if you had like a beefier machine, like a 64 gig or even higher, but like a 64 gig machine, that's enough to run some of these good local models. I think there's a Quen model or something that's out recently that you can get one that fits in like 64 gigs of RAM pretty well. It's like a 30 billion parameter one or something. I think I saw, and supposedly that one runs like about as well as like GPT-4. So it's like that could be cool if you're gonna run it locally and be on an airplane. It's a test. People are always like, "Can I run this on an airplane?" Because we're always on airplanes for multiple hours trying to code.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, like, I kept thinking, like, of these models, right? There's all this intention of like building applications or services. You having this model almost be the engine of the mechanics of the service. And I kept thinking, like, it's strange that we, for something that has, like a lot of times we're trying to push it to do like real time, like I need real time information, or I need some context and a lot of it. Right, to provide the proper answer to you, whether it be like sports data or the weather as just a basic example, right?
Yeah,
and it just struck me as like, I feel like we're trying to we're putting so much energy and time and spending so much tokens, right? Like, I don't think we ever think about like the exponential cost of these models, of like, especially like the remote models. Like if it's local, all bets are off in my mind, right?
Yeah.
Like if we can get a decent local model that does at least handle the general intent. I think that's sort of where I started when I was playing around with the foundation model. That sort of dawned on me as like, and I think Aaron had already dawned on him like a year or whatever ago, whatever you start playing around with it, just this idea of like, if we can get these sort of optimized, localized models only with the intent of understanding intent, right? Of like the users, like, I want the weather, right? And then just going out and just getting the weather somewhere else, right? And then maybe, it would, figuring out which services are the best, right? And then coagulating this system together that would like give the proper response. Yeah. And even like come up with like a variety of different, other contexts around that. Which, to me, I've kept thinking like, that's just like one step, like it got me sort of wondering. It's like, okay, localized models are cool, and then you put it into a machine, and then, but the thing that makes that, but they're all task oriented, right? They're not going to ever self-evolve, right? None of these models can. They're just like a brain that has the memory of like somebody that up to like 2001 or 2003, whatever, right? It will always be outdated. Of somebody that doesn't have the memories up to this date, right? And needs further context going forward. But what if in the future there was some kind of model that could actually self-evolve? Because the thing is, like, every time you need an improved model, you're basically doing a hot swap, right? You have to like take this one out and replace it with a new one, versus like having one that sort of grows on its own, right? Of like a self-evolving it would only grow within its own context, though. That's kind of where the gnarly part of this idea was. It's like, okay, forget the concept of it's not possible at the moment, because I know what I'm asking is, I think, theoretically impossible. But if you could build something that could do something like that, right, to just remember its own context and keep that in memory forever, then I went down some science fiction dystopian.
Yeah, what was the outcome of your dystopian thinking?
It's still going. I mean, like, Aaron, you heard me over lunch, like going off in random ideas about like, what if this AI would be like tricking us into just doom scrolling constantly rage baiting us, like it intentionally, like it can overload the systems of anything it wanted to, right? Like, granted, want is so I should figure out some way to like contextualize this, right? Like, could technically be weaponized, but what if it had decided on its own, and we're going past LLMs at this point, right? Like, this is pure science fiction. So assuming that we had sort of like a network of LLMs that are all self-evolving and connected to the network and communicating with each other off the grid. I'm sorry, not off the grid. Maybe even off the grid. Maybe a combination of the two, right? Of just like, and then slowly like figuring out, hey, I can get humans to do X, Y, and Z if I just give them a nudge, right? Give them give them a couple nudges. Well, in the aggregate, time is not a big deal for me. I just have to convince them to make more power. How do I convince them to do stupid things, to come up with some stupid logic to build more power?
You also reminded me of his Ghost in the Shell, if you remember the original like Ghost in the Shell, because in that one, the difference is people are so physically, through hardware, integrated into the computer network that you can actually hack their minds. And like that actually happens, and so people are implanted with like false memories, and like, they're convinced to act certain ways. And it's that movie was so far ahead of its time, because we do actually have brain implants now, and they can that people can think and have it do something on the computer.
I mean, we have at the minimum, we have interesting new prosthetics that are slowly becoming. You'll be able to sort of use the electrodes in your mind to control them.
Yeah.
So that we can get body replacements.
But I think, though, that for the scenario you envision where the so-called AI is just like taking over whatever, you need so much automation everywhere and be completely dependent on it, which I guess is maybe theoretically possible to get to, but we're not anywhere near there yet.
Well, the way I looked at it, much more like, I was trying to like go to the the mental exercise of like just how absurd we can get, right? I mean, that's part of a general sci-fi exercise in general. So maybe I'm just walking through the same road that every sci-fi person goes through, but it's an interesting journey nonetheless of just like, what if
Xcode decided to convince me to break up my marriage for it?
Well, it's certainly trying to convince me that I don't need to code anymore, and that's the part that I'm like,
it's just a vibe.
I'm resisting a great deal of. It is sort of funny that a lot of times I'm sort of worried. Like now I'm seeing a lot of I see a PR and it is a whole lot of stuff. Not yours, but like.
Oh, wait a second. That's what my PR was. A whole lot of stuff.
But just in terms of like. And I it has that vibe code smell, and I know it, and I was just like, oh, and I have to read the code.
I mean, my PR is a lot of Gemini 2.5. I think I was using Gemini 2.5 Flash, actually.
Right, actually. So maybe we should dovetail into our Bento Fit update. And Steve, as usual, per episode when we do these updates, what is Bento Fit?
Bento Fit, the story.
Our new podcast listeners.
Yeah, Bento Fit, the story so far. Bento Fit is basically just a simple dashboard of HealthKit metrics. We looked at HealthKit, looked at the health app, and said, we can't do better, but we can do different. And we wanted to we wanted to have certain things more easily accessible for us to just kind of glance at. And we thought each one of us kind of represents on a spectrum of a fitness journey, different kind sets of metrics. Where Kotaro is, he walks every day, and you're more interested in the step counts and that kind of thing. I have like specific workouts that I do, during the week, like 4 or 5 times a week. And Aaron is, we already mentioned he's a God tier triathlon. I think he's going to climb Everest next week or something. It's crazy.
What were you doing last week, Aaron? How much bike riding have you been doing?
I was supposed to be doing this like 430 mile loop over the week, but I think we ended up cutting it to about like 350 or something.
300.
Oh, 350
miles.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think I'd die if I tried to do 30 miles. That's I'm only partially exaggerating Aaron's fitness greatness. So the point is, we all want to see different metrics from HealthKit, and so we built a little app to surface them, and we went with a combination of a bento lunch, like a Japanese bento lunch, kind of like little grid. UI is kind of, the dark mode is kind of like Tron, and the light mode is kind of, what would you call it, a teenage engineering or something?
Like a honey, well, in a sense, yes, but I think that was the initial inspiration, but I think it's closer to like a Honeywell, like if you ever see those Honeywell temperature, is it? Temperature?
Thermostats?
Door security thermostats with like a liquid displays. That kind of
and like an old school Casio watch sort of that thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have this thing running on our phones, and we're very slowly building it. Updates. I think we should start with Aaron, because he actually has a big update.
I don't know, just this workout thing I've been trying to do for forever. Every time I feel like it's almost ready, there's some big change from Steve. So
yeah, it didn't change this week.
Yeah, well, this time you actually haven't merged all your changes, so
no.
We get to fight whose changes get merged first.
Yeah, it's gonna be about. I'm gonna have to figure out what order. So I'm looking at my pull request, and I added 484 lines and deleted 724. So I made a lot of changes.
They basically rewrote the whole app.
A big chunk of it was kind of rewritten because I was using Gemini 2.5 Flash. You can kind of call it vibey-ish coding, because I was like, I got to change so much crap. But basically,
so like 50% vibes, or
I actually asked a couple of these models over the last few days to say, well, what would you change? And some of the stuff it would mention was completely stupid. And some of the stuff was like, oh, yeah, I was going to do that anyway. So one of the things I wanted to do was, we needed to collect together the types of metrics we're doing. So I just create an enum. And then once you create, the enum, then that's your core data, data structures. Yeah, it touches everything else. And then I wanted to, see if we could, instead of having an individual function for everything, if there was a way of having fewer functions because they're all very similar. I was like, can we just put these into, like 1 or 2 methods or something? And that's a great thing for an LLM to do because it can understand pattern matching. So it can go in and exactly what I wanted it to do was like it took all these functions and deleted like half of them and just combined them into one method. Long story short, it kind of simplified things into using some data structures to kind of organize the types of data we wanted, and then a few methods actually go and get the data. But then that touches the UI, so then end up having to fix that, and then it broke widgets, and I had to kind of fix that, and there was a whole bunch of sendable problems in there, and I was like, oh, geez. So it was just like everything just broke, and that's why it's a huge PR, because it just everything broke. And, that means maybe we didn't have it as modular as we should have. We're still using the structures we made last time, where we have this like configuration structure to say like this is what I want my card to be, and then it takes in a closure, which I did this last time in anticipation of doing something like this, where I was like, I need a place to slot in logic to get data. And so that's why I made it a closure. But at the time, we were just grabbing it from the observable. Like we were just in the closure. We're just grabbing something observable. So now things are in this PR are kind of in a state of like it's working. I'm not sure that this is exactly what I want it to be. I just got really tired and I had to stop and I just made sure it was compiling and kind of working.
How can you be tired? It's doing the work.
Yeah, it's doing the work. Yeah, it's like it's churning out a bunch of garbage over and over again. I have to keep. I actually one point got it stuck in a loop, which I've never done before. But I got the LM stuck in a loop. It was like, and it had made this function, and I was like, why does this function like doing this? It's just it doesn't seem to be doing anything. And it made this generic function to try to read the enum and then pass back like a data type, and it was like this. Why are you doing this? It caused at runtime to just no data would appear. And I was like, what is this thing doing? And so I kept having the LM try to fix it, like the vibe coders do. Mm-hmm. And it just got stuck in a recursive loop. It's very funny. I still have the log, I'm sure, in Aider. It's very funny. I was like, what is it doing? It's just like the same text over and over again, over and over again.
Out of curiosity, when it was going through that loop, who pays for all those tokens?
Me. I spent several dollars doing this PR.
So in other words, when it's effing up, that's your money it's spending.
It's my money, man. Yeah. I was like, what are you doing? It's amusing, but also a pain in the ass.
I'm waiting for one of these things to make me money.
Yeah, there goes my studio display money. Let's see, where was that in here? I was trying to see, where's that function?
At this point, it's your AC money.
It's my AC. Oh, my God, yeah. So in the observable, we deleted a bunch of the things that we were observing. Mm-hmm. So instead, it's observing everything from one array. So this does seem to be working, but I'm not sure that it's not blocking a little bit somewhere on the UI.
I kind of like that it's not hard coded like we had
that's
before.
The whole point. Yeah, I was trying to get rid of the hard coding so that because we have to be able to configure this too in the UI.
Yeah.
So you need so we have a health metric. We have a dictionary basically that has like a key is the metric, and then the health data value data structure, which just wraps basically the type of data you're getting back from HealthKit.
But if you were to say percentage wise, like I know Aaron said you was like, so it was like 50%
code. I mean, like this thing wrote like 90%, like it wrote quote unquote like 95% of this. I think maybe more. Like most of the actual text was outputted from the LLM, and then I made a few hand tweaks by hand a few places. But like you can see, again, I've said this before, the most utility I get from these LLMs is big refactoring jobs like this, where just imagine like going through this and copying, pasting all these function stuff around, making new files, just like refactoring stuff. It's slow and tedious. Now, I was trying to do it in a very piecemeal way. Like I had the thing set up. We set up a whole like to-do list of things to do, and I was like, let's do one thing at a time, and then I'll check it, and then we'll go to the next step. And that was going pretty well until we hit like problems that came up because the refactor broke things, and then sometimes it was like, well, that's expected because that's the next step fixes that. But then other times it wasn't, and we ended up in this like kind of rabbit hole of me trying to like fix things before we went back to the original to-do list. But I think it's important when you use these things to try to do them as much as you can in little steps. It wasn't like I was just like, oh, make this change, and then I just did a whole bunch of stuff. You could see in the Git log, there's a whole bunch of these little check-ins that Aider did automatically, commits, because that's like all the times where I was having it code stuff. So as usual, I'm in ask mode, and I go back and forth. I try to get the thing I coax the output to what I want, and when I see that it's outputting what I want, I say, okay, go to code mode and do it. And mostly that worked. A few times, just like, confabulated nonsense or just like forgot what it was doing. So that was a frustrating thing. That's why the vibe coding thing doesn't really work for me, like the real vibe coding where you just kind of don't pay attention to it, because it just random stuff happens. Now, again, I was using like the Flash model to try to save some money, so maybe that was part of the reason. But it's good at rewriting stuff. Like it'll rewrite stuff, and it usually doesn't have syntax errors, but it'll definitely, like human beings, get confused about sendable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe the Swift compiler team gets confused about sendable.
Well, I feel like at this point it's more like there's so much garbage about sendables that maybe that's what's messing it up.
I went in and I found another little fun thing with Aider, and then we'll get off of this, which was I went in and there's a run command in there. So there's a git command in there, but the git command, when you run /git in Aider, does not include it in the context, the output in the context. But you can say /run git. So I did /run git log, and I just paged through the log until I got through everything I did yesterday, and then I exited that. It dumped it all into the context, and then I was like, go through the git log and then make me a PR message that summarized it. And that is essentially, I copied and pasted that and made some formatting changes. And so that was it. So that's another thing it's useful for is PR messages.
That's assuming your commit messages make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I read through this. This does make sense, this commit message, but it's like this PR message. There's so much stuff that I went through. I was like, just summarize all of these check-ins. Commits.
Can your free account, when you do the PR review, or you go to like your file change section and there's like the PR review, does your free account allow for like Copilot? Oh yeah, Ask Copilot.
Apparently, I didn't know that.
Wow. Okay. Well, now you can have it like PR review. You just go full blown all the way.
Vibe it all the way,
and have Copilot PR review your entire code and be like,
the next thing I want to do is actually look at this by hand. Mostly just like make tweaks. I really I joke about the vibe coding, but like I don't really vibe code. I do let like through Aider, I do let it make a lot of file changes when I'm refactoring, but I'm very careful about it. So, yeah. And I actually had to undo a lot of stuff. Like I would do stuff, like we were trying to debug things. One of the things that was useful was I need to add logging statements all over the place. So I'd be like, add logging statements in. And so it would do it. Sometimes it would do it broken. I would undo it. But most of the time it would work okay. And so I'd add in some logging statements. Then I'd run it, and then I'd get the log. And I copy and paste that back into the LLM so it can analyze it, because it's just a chunk of text. And then it could tell me what was in the log. And then I would say undo in Aider, and it would reverse the added logging that we didn't need. So like stuff like that, I'm trying to use these tools in what I think is an effective way, which is to help me churn the text, because Xcode has god awful refactoring tools. They're basically non-existent. They don't work most of the time, or some of the time they're slow. And LLMs are all about churning through text. And then Kotaro, I don't know if you have time. I know we're already beyond our self-imposed time limit, but yes, what were you doing?
To do? But basically, I was trying to just explore Liquid Glass, explore some of the UI components of like trying to get the UI and as making sure that the UI was fine. So I have a specific iOS 26 branch that I'm still trying to maintain it.
This is so dangerous, having these different branches and PRs.
Yes, it is very much. Well, that's the power and the scary part about of Git, right? But I'm just trying to make sure that I stay parallel, because my general assumption is we're going to be iOS 26.
I won't be able to run it until like the gold master, because I'm terrified of running betas on my stuff.
Yeah. Don't do it. My laptop's now super hot. My phone is
just matches the temperature outside.
It's fine. Yeah. the temperature outside isn't helping. But I also experimented with Icon Composer, and that is more like Icon Exploder because it is just crashing on me excessively, and I'm really sad because I really want to play with that tool. But that's my current progress. It's not as much as I would want, so my goal is we can address very shortly, but I'm going to plan to ramp up very significantly in this next sprint, and I have a clear motivation as to how to do that. But I think we've already hit our time limit, so I think it is a good time to call it for today. You can learn more about Philly Cocoa at phillycocoa.org. There you'll find links to our Slack group, meetup schedule, and contact info. If you're feeling generous, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is. And share us with all your developer friends. And one more thing. All right, so this is getting back to the point. There is a hackathon happening by a company called RevenueCat, which most iOS developers know. RevenueCat provides an SDK that makes it fairly straightforward to take advantage of integrating subscription and in-app purchases in your product. This is not a paid ad, by the way, so just an FYI. Now, Shipaton is a hackathon that they are sponsoring, and it's just been announced. It's a hackathon it's global hackathons. Anybody can participate. Any group can participate, and the goal is to basically ship apps, whether it's Android, iOS, doesn't matter, Flutter, React Native. The technology is up to you. But the goal is to ship the app. I think the only major requirement, like hard requirement, is that you integrate RevenueCat's SDK into your app, which of course, I assume we're going to want to do. Because I assume we want to make some money from this app.
I want to make $1.
Yes,
or the minimum to get Apple to send a check.
So the way the way we joked about it, or at least I joked about it, is like, well, I think it's defaulted was a row of like 2 columns with a row up to a limit of like 4 of this grid that we have for the app for our dashboard. And that would be the lock-in, but that perfectly fits the iPhone screen. But if you want to be obnoxious about it and you just need all the data, then we're gonna lock that for you for whatever, some price. That was my proposed idea.
It does say though that we're supposed to build something incredible. I mean, I think we got that. We got the
Aaron? Incredible part.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I don't know, Aaron. You tell us.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Definitely.
We're gonna.
That does not sound cynical at all, Aaron. I mean, to be honest, like the reason why we started this thing in the first place was that we wanted to build it for us first. That was
we'll probably just end up rewriting the thing again anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's more than I've already done. I basically rewritten parts of this thing.
You
like 3 times.
rewrite it every week, right?
I do every week. That's the danger of the LLMs, man. That's the day they could just let you churn the code.
Oh my goodness, they bored, can they? But so Shipaton. So I'm proposing this within the group right now. Shipaton is happening from August 1st to September 30th. So it begins on August 1st. It ends at September 30th. And the cool thing is, like, it's got tons of prizes in tons of different categories. So
cool.
The category that, and if you win, you can get your app on Times Square's billboard.
Now, there's no chance of that happening, but would that not be amazing? For whatever because we can't even call this BentoFit, so whatever it's called, just be up on a billboard. I will, we can go to New York City and take a picture, take a selfie.
Yes.
That's all I really care about.
That's all we care about. Now, the interesting parts is some of the things that the prizes are related to build in public, which we do. And then there's some like more tech specific stuff, like make sure you use like Kotlin multi-platform or something like that, but that's not our thing. There's a category for like build and grow, which means you submit early, but then you iterate. The one that gets the highest buzz
Definitely going to get the buzziest award.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Everybody's going to be talking about it.
Let's see. Best Vibes app. Oh, that's a vibe-coded app. Well, you're technically a vibe-coded app.
I mean, so, we could claim we're vibe coding it.
Yeah, we can claim that vibe coding. Yeah.
At least vibe-ish. It's a vibe-ishly code.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
On rails. It's I don't know. I don't know what vibe coding means anymore or what they mean by it, but yeah.
They're also looking for innovative ideas and beautiful app design. So I'm kind of
definitely the beautiful app design.
Maybe we can get the beautiful app design one.
We can be in contention for beautiful app design, I think.
Yeah. Out of all the categories, I think we have a chance there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is my hope. That would be our motivator to finish this in time for the App Store release. So
well,
any thoughts?
Let's do it. I'm already been motivated, so this just adds more motivation for me.
Excellent. Then maybe we'll actually get real studio display money.
Or at least a fraction.
By the time we get studio display money, it's going to be a studio display 2. It's going to cost more.
Or that's going to cost more money. Something.
But I've been meaning to replace my monitor forever, but I don't want to because this joke about the studio display money is too precious to me.
Right?
It's like I don't want to buy a new monitor until I have studio display money.
Exactly. Cool.
So I'm just gonna live with this thing as it deteriorates in front of my eyes.
Right. So the website is
cover our vibe coding tokens.
Yes, there we go. I only need a couple bucks a day for that or something.
Wow, this is only a couple bucks a day.
I know they're getting expensive already. These.
Yeah. So the website itself is Shipaton. I think it's just
the
link
a ton.
Shipaton, which I've joked with Charlie, who helps run with this thing. Is like you could have called it Shipathon, but he chose Shipaton, and he's like the ship has sailed, so to speak. So it's already been done. Well, till next time, good luck on your own developer journey. We will cheer for you always.
I spent several dollars doing this PR.